Okay, hello. I am Rob Tucker, the Chief Product Officer at Fabric, and I'll be talking today about the data architecture that we are building around our Fabric Studio application. We have got about 15 minutes to cover 4 things. The first is Fabric Studio and how our software is helping media and entertainment companies overcome challenges in managing title catalogs. The second is Fabric Origin, which is our brand new data service, and how this can increase the value of customers' content by adding high quality promotional materials and metadata. The next is IMDb and how our integration into the world's largest catalog is saving our customers a huge amount of time when preparing content for delivery. And the last one is the Authenticated Data Standard, which is a brand new industry collaboration with the intent of simplifying content data sharing at scale, which is part of the 2023 IBC Accelerator Program. So, to set the context, movie and TV show data has historically been managed with a patchwork of legacy tools, systems, spreadsheets, and manual processes. And this leads to a huge amount of inefficiency, lack of governance, duplicated attributes, missing data, and lots of other problems. Internally, it creates a lack of a source of truth. So at any given point in time, it's very hard to know where to go in your supply chain systems to get the accurate, up-to-date source of truth for your catalog. And the worst case scenario here is that bad data ultimately it gets its way through to end users and they're unable to find the content and consume it. So we have built Fabric Studio to unify all of this mission-critical title data into a single application and make that easily accessible to the whole organization, and that is either by users through the software and the user interface or other supply chain systems using the APIs. We deliver all of the features in Fabric Studio through what we call our 7 core capabilities. The first one is title catalog management. So first of all, becoming that categorical source of truth for title catalog in the business. The next is metadata enrichment, so making it incredibly easy to enrich those titles with all the metadata that you need against them. The next one is process automation. So that is automating processes like metadata enrichment sequences and supply chain tasks. Then we have reporting, which gives you a macro view across the entire catalog and makes it super easy to pull out valuable business insights. We have content review and sharing, which makes it very easy to share your titles with your partners and affiliates for sales and syndication purposes. And then we have a localization management tool, which makes it very easy to simplify the process of creating and managing localization orders. So let's have a look at Fabric Studio. So we've really tried to design this application to make it as user-friendly and intuitive as possible, so users are able to come in here and know what they're doing without any training or minimal support. So when you log into the platform, you see the discovery window. You've got the records down the left-hand side, and you can click on one of those, and that opens up the full set of data that we're storing against the title. All of the data is managed through the different tabs across the middle, and that's data that we're owning ourselves and some data that we're bringing in from other supply chain systems. We start out with the highest level production information, like things like country of origin, language, studios, production companies, that type of thing. We then move on to descriptors, which is where customers load in the different data sets and taxonomies that they need to meet their business requirements, genres, moods, actions, keywords, all of those types of things. We have trivia, section for international certifications, and some URLs at the bottom. So that's the first tab. The next tab is IDs, which is where we're storing all the IDs for the corresponding records in other supply chain systems and third-party ID and enrichment sources. Next up, we have the regional tab, which is where we're storing titles, alternative titles, different length synopses, typically for different platform types. You can also configure this to store to have fields for storing data from third-party services like IMDb. You can have copyright lines, and this is completely configurable. And this section is supported in over 300 languages, so you can click on French and see all your French metadata here. And it also supports over 35 international writing systems as well, so we've got all of the international character sets in here, and it's all mapped to ISO and ITAF and LMT, so whatever codes you need are right there. We've got images that you can store and have their own metadata records against them for contributors and tags. We've got credits here, which are all ranked by role with character names. We've also got third-party IDs on those people as well, so you can jump through to your third-party sources. We also support alternate credit lists here if you need to configure the credit list differently for a different platform or region. Awards is pretty self-explanatory. You can just see any kind of nominations or wins against the record here. Next up, measurement. So this is where we're storing all the third-party ratings, things like box office data, international release information, critic reviews from Metacritic are there too, and trending if the title is in any particular lists or anything like that. We have scheduling, so this is us bringing in data from a scheduling system so you can see where the content is scheduled to go and when. Market tells us where this title is available in the world, what platform it's on, resolution, cost, with a link to those as well. Videos is where we're typically storing things like trailers and value-add content, and we'll come back to this when we talk about Origin very shortly. So you can play those through there. What's next? Assets. So this is us connecting into third-party systems, asset management systems, so you can really quickly and easily see what masters, subs, dubs, compliance, edits you have, making that data really easily accessible. And linkage just shows you all of the relationships that exist between this title and other titles in the catalog. So that is very quickly Fabric Studio, and we try to make it so that all of that title data is really easily accessible to everybody. And that's those data points that we're storing ourselves, and then data that we're pulling in from other systems like asset management systems and scheduling systems too. And we can also do some incredible reporting around all of that normalized data. And if you want to see a demo of that, pop over and see us on our stand over here, and we would be delighted to take you through that. So next up, metadata. So that demo there went through the June record, and that had been painstakingly curated and enriched to a really high standard. But as everyone knows, it's actually not that easy to get records to that level of quality at scale to tight timelines. And so typically in the content lifecycle, the starting point is a shell record, empty record with missing, incomplete, or incorrect data. And a huge amount of manual work is required to source the data, to fill the gaps, to enrich it, and to curate that to a high standard to maximize its value and discoverability. So what we have done is we have built integrations from our studio software directly into the leading integration services. And what that does is it delivers high quality metadata, images and videos directly into your movies and TV shows. And typically it's a completely automated process. So the first one we're going to look at is Origin, which is our brand new data service that we're launching here at NAB. And Origin delivers a breadth of high-value metadata and promotional materials into your movie and TV show records. We also have the world's largest collection of trailers and value-add content to maximize engagement and content views for the titles. And it also provides things like the Origin power rating, platform availability data, trending information, EPG listings, third-party IDs, and much, much more. And to give a quick example of the breadth here, we've got things like promotional, value-add content and trailers, future and upcoming release information, platform availability, where is it available and how is it available, third-party IDs, games metadata, theatrical trailers, and lots more. So let's have a look at what that looks like. So we're going to create a record here from scratch, so a completely empty record, and all you need to do is put in a title and a release year, and then you are able to go to the Actions menu and select Enrich from Origin. And then in no time at all, if we just save that record, we can then see that that record that did not exist a minute ago is now created and contains a huge amount of metadata. So we've got IDs, synopses, origination information, studios, different data sets, genres, themes, keywords, those types of things. We also bring a lot of third-party URLs at the bottom there. We bring back a broad set of industry IDs. We bring in different titles and different synopsis lengths in the regional tab. A broad range of images and artwork, and those are also tagged with keywords and contributors against the images too. On the measurement tab, we bring in all of those international release dates, theatrical, physical, digital, plus those critic reviews from Metacritic and trending information as to where this record is in any kind of top lists. All of that market information comes in about where the title is available in the world, what platform it's on, resolution, start date, end date, all of those types of things. And we also bring in a really great selection of videos and value-add content against the title as well. So that is Origin. So we went from having absolutely no record at all to a really nicely enriched record in a matter of minutes. And also with those other third-party IDs, we can go off and call those APIs and services if we need to as well. And again, typically a user doesn't have to go in there and click and go through those actions. It's normally completely automated in the back end. So next up is IMDb. And the IMDb service works really nicely together with Fabric Origin to fully complement the full set of metadata that you need against the title. It brings in titles, synopses, images, artwork, credit lists, and everything that you need to kind of complete that set of metadata. And it also comes with a big catalog of people, celebrities, the IMDb rating, news, trivia, and box office data from Box Office Mojo at the same time. So let's go back to our record and have a look at that. So all you need to do is go back to the Actions menu and go to IMDb, and you can actually toggle on or off any of the different data categories that you want to bring in here, and then you just go ahead and enrich there. And in a couple of seconds, we just need to refresh the page, and then we've brought in all that additional metadata from IMDb, which we can see here. So that starts out with the IMDb keywords, which are here. We also bring in a lot of international certifications there. Next up, we have got awards, so the nominations and wins come in there. We also bring in a beautiful credit list, which is again ranked by role with character names. Those third-party IMDb IDs come in at the same time. And what you can also do here is actually go into the individual themselves and see the key information about the contributor and store third-party IDs against them too. And then I think the last one, we bring in the IMDb rating here. We also bring in all of that box office information from Box Office Mojo. And that's by country or aggregated worldwide, and some additional release dates come in there as well. So that, with those two services, we've now gone from having no record at all to a really nicely record that's ready to go. And again, typically it's a completely automated process, and so it just kind of takes seconds and happens in the background like magic. So the last thing is the authenticated data standard. So what is this? The context here is that different entertainment companies manage movie and TV show metadata in subtly different ways. And small differences in how that is managed can create huge challenges when it comes to sharing that data at scale. And also the continual propagation of record data across multiple partners and vendors leads to bad data creeping in there, and it ultimately ends up with a watered down experience for the consumer. And this is a real pain for studios because they put a huge amount of time and effort and money into creating those materials in the first place, only to see them pass through a chain of different vendors and licensors and degrade by the time it gets to the consumer. So what we've done is put together a broad working group of industry leaders to define that authenticated data standard specification. The intent here is to codify a standard for an ownership authentication of priority metadata attributes and define ultimately a common language for the efficient sharing of movie and TV show data and images between businesses. So the three goals here really are, first of all, to define that standard that encapsulates the core metadata attributes and artwork. The second is to provide a mechanism for the content owner to validate that data package as their own, formalized and ready for distribution. And then the last one is to actually enable a publishing route for that data to be published back into IMDb and Fabric Origin. And this is all part of the IBC Accelerator 2023 program, and we're going to be working collaboratively with those partners and maybe more over the summer to define the standards and the supporting infrastructure, and we will be delivering a first draft of that, the authentication mechanism, and demonstrating that publishing route at IBC in 2023. So that is everything from me. Thank you for watching, and we have a stand just over here if anybody wants to come over and ask any questions. Thank you.